Hello, I'm David Scranton, and thank you for clicking this video. So now is the perfect time to introduce today's guests. First of all, Jeff Small, president of Arbor Financial Services. Jeff, as usual, great to talk with you.
Great to be here, Dave.
As well as a good friend of the income generation, a repeat guest, and someone I consider to be a real estate mogul in his own right, Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and founder of Rich Global, LLC. Robert, thanks so much for being back with us here on The Income Generation.
Oh, thank you. It's always nice to be our guest.
So Robert, just when you think that real estate can't go up any higher, it does the exact opposite and it keeps going up higher. When will we hit the maximums now in real estate values, or have we peaked at this point in time with real estate values?
Well, these are unusual times. And and all that means is be more cautious. You've got to be smarter because, as you know, the problem with real estate is illiquid. So you make a mistake with real estate, you're the skipper of the Titanic going down with it.
Well, but the question, though, is, have we hit our maximums? Is there room for more appreciation in real estate? And if there isn't, what is your forecast going forward? Will the Fed wreck the markets by raising rates in 12 months or 24 months?
Well, I don't really care because real estate is not about price going up. It's about cash flow. It's about income generation. That's all I care about. The second thing about real estate is I use debt financing, and interest rates are at 2%. I mean, that's one of the reasons real estate is going up. And I pay no taxes. And if you don't pay any taxes, that's more income.
Yeah, we love that. And I love your book, Cash Flow Quadrant. I mean, it's been a while now, but I go back and read it every once in a while. And so far, we actually talked about that, why real estate investing is strong, because you get depreciation to offset the cash flow. You get cash flow, you get upside potential, you get to use leverage, which of course is a double-edged sword. So if you were putting money in one sector of real estate right now, one area, would it be residential, commercial? And if it were commercial, which subsector would it be, in your opinion?
Well, right now, I wouldn't be in commercial. I've never been in commercial, because the number one question in any business, I don't care what business it is, doctors, dentists, who's your customer? And my customers have always been income generating property, apartment houses. Mm-hmm. So I have about 10,000 apartment houses.
Yeah. And in some ways, if you think about the timing today, I'd almost think even though the prices have gone up, it's a great time because with prices of real estate going up, fewer and fewer people can afford to buy their own homes, and therefore they're going to be renting for that much longer. So am I being oversimplistic? Am I missing something, or do you generally agree with that?
No, I see the same thing. The problem with real estate versus a stock is that real estate is illiquid. And you make a mistake with real estate, you're stuck with it. And I've met so many. Do you remember back in 2007, 2008?
Yeah.
These guys were skippers of the Titanic. They expected the price of the real estate to keep going up. Then it reversed track on them, which all investments do. And they got, stuck holding the bag. So real estate, in my opinion, takes more financial education and more experience than a stock, bond, mutual fund, or ETF. Because you buy a stock, bond, mutual fund, ETF, you make a mistake, you can get out really quickly.
So Robert, when we look at the real estate market today, we know we've come up from the bottom of 2008 and those lows. But what also has caused these prices to increase is rental properties. Rents are going to the moon. Why are rents going up? Does it run lockstep with the prices in a proportional fashion? Rents have just gone crazy. So tell us why rents have gone up so much.
Well, that's a good question, but I'm glad they are. But there's a lot. Real estate, you have to be an entrepreneur. I mean, really, seriously, it's a business. And you've got to run it, because the hardest thing about real estate is property management. Financing, putting it together, putting the deal together, raising the financing is the easy part. Can you maintain long-term property management? And that's why my partner, Ken McElroy, who, by the way, has great books on it, Ken McElroy, The ABCs of Real Estate, I strongly recommend getting that, because the reason he's my partner is because he has one of the biggest property management companies in the Southwest. I don't like managing property. And that's one of the biggest reasons people don't like real estate is they don't want to fix toilets at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, nobody likes to get that kind of phone call, right? That's not a very good phone call, but you got to have people on deck like your partner does in a property management scenario. So the barrier to owning rental properties, though, is the price, because the cost to benefits got to be there. You want to have positive cash flow. You don't want to be dumping money into a property and have a negative cash flow. And so at this type of in this type of market environment, prices are really too high to get into rental properties, aren't they, Robert?
Not for me. No, I just bought 60 units in Austin, Texas. The difference is, I call it, this is not the scientific term, it's called a twist. What can you, as an entrepreneur, what can you do to that property that'll increase its value and the rental income? For example, one of my very first properties was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in Portland, Oregon. All we did was add a second, another bedroom and another bath to it, and it almost tripled the rent. See, but I look at it as an entrepreneur. I'm not a gambler. I don't just buy and flip. And I still have that property today.
Yeah, and it's funny because people think of flipping properties and putting money into them, but even if you have a huge apartment building, you can increase the green spaces, increase the lobby area, maybe the laundry facilities, make them better, and do things like that that add the value without necessarily having to redo the kitchens in all 100 units. So I'd like to focus our last couple of minutes, if we can, on maybe Mr. McElroy's book, or, in general, how can our average income generation member know whether investing in real estate is right for him or her?
Well, you better be interested and you better be willing to study. This is not a stock. I have 0 stocks. I am not in the stock market. I think that is the biggest bubble I've ever seen on NASDAQ. The Dow hit all-time highs today. And the problem with amateur investors is the problem isn't the stock market. The underlying problem with the stock market is the credit market. The credit market's coming apart. And so I'm worried about all these guys with 401ks and IRAs, because this next crash is going to be a massive one. But the crash will be triggered by the credit market, the treasury bonds, T-bills. And so that's why real estate will always do well as long as there's jobs in the area. So test number 1 is, what's the industry closest to my real estate? So for example, I own huge apartment houses in San Antonio, Texas, but they're right next to hospitals. Mm-hmm. Hospitals for the next at least 3 years will be in business. And most hospitals have lots of employees, and that's what makes it a good investment. Plus, I added washing machines to them and dryers, so I increased the rent. Then I added carports to it. It increased the rent. Then I increased security and increased the rent. So I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a gambler. I don't go to Las Vegas. I don't like gambling. I like making money. I like running professionally, and I have very professional partners.
Well, next to hospital where you have doctors, you have nurses, like they say, location, location, location. So Robert, it's always good to talk with you, especially about a topic like real estate, which is near and dear to your heart. Robert, Jeff, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for watching today's video, Real Estate and Retirement Income. If you enjoyed this video, click the thumbs up button to give us a like, and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel for new content each and every week.